I would like to explain what this channel is about. It's about the electronics used in rocketry and engine building. I'm not going to go into fuel mixtures or how to build engines. I'm just adding on to what I've learned from rotary rockets and how they build their Super Monkey and their Kiwi, and they've been a big help to help me on the endeavor here to get to a G85 on sugar, and the Rocketeer on getting me interested in sugar again after straying away from it for a while, and the techniques that he used to mix the fuel and pour it has been very helpful, and I appreciate both of those guys. So you enjoy this channel, and I'll hopefully just amplify some of the things that they do, maybe change them around a little bit the way I do it, and look at it from a different angle. And we'll also be talking about some electronics later about the use of the flight computer that I'm building, or have built, I should say, and how to use it, how to use the PC to get the data out of that device and use it for grafting the flight, and also an engine test stand and how to get the data out of it and use it in a PC on a spreadsheet and some other all free programs other than Office software. Okay, what we're going to do here now is we just got a engine 5-inch one that's been cored, and I'm pulling the core out. The orange thing there is just a guide to keep it centered while it's cooling. And this one's coming out pretty easy. It's just a 1/2-inch aluminum rod. And you can see the core come out clean all the way through. I'll do a little bit of cleaning up. I'm gonna make the fuse lighter that I use on these. I had some bad, not really bad, but technical grade potassium nitrate that was very hard to light. So the only way I could get it to light is with an E-match lighting a fuse at the top of the engine, which seemed to work pretty good. You know, they want it lit right at the top to maintain all the characteristics that the engine can do, the performance it can do. So here I'm just joining the fuse to the E-match. You start by putting it on the fuse and then sticking it down in the E-match, the red cap, and then basically just spinning it around and joining them together. And this has to be installed before the end cap is put on, because the red cap that's holding the fuse will not fit through that 13/64 throat. So it's inserted from the top down and then capped. I got it right at the top, and then bend the wire over so it stays in place. Then I'll put a piece of tape on it so it can't move. And then later I put a rubber band right below that cap. Make sure it stays in place. looking for something that I've lost, as always. Ah, an earplug. Gonna seal it up, keep the moisture out of it. And then I'm going to put a piece of wide tape on there to keep the earplug and the wire in place. It also adds just a little tiny bit of back pressure as the engine is lighting. And now you can see where the fuse is. It's right at the top, and the cap is about a half an inch lower than that, maybe a little bit more. And I got to make sure that I put primer and glue on it, as I tested one not too long ago without the cap glued on. I don't know how I missed that step. It was on there, it just wasn't glued, and of course it popped off right away. And then the engine proceeded to spew unburnt fuel, potassium nitrate, all over my test stand. It had to be rebuilt, the electronics part of it. Luckily, it didn't destroy the load cell. So anyway, you don't need to get distracted and forget to glue it on there, as it will be a big rocket fire. Basically a Roman candles in the bottom of the rocket. And you get that seated good so the glue will hold. When it's been glued on properly, I've never had it come off yet. This is like the 15th engine that I've tested, trying to get to my goal of a G85 to fly the 3-inch rocket that you can see in the background there with the brown tube. I got some white tube, but I'm going to use brown tube, but I'm pretty destructive on the early testing. And what I'm doing now is writing the full weight. The case and the empty weight was written down, and then you just subtract it, and you know how much fuel's in it. And I'm cheating and using a calculator. And that little cup is a stand I use to pour the fuel into, and also it works on the thrust test stand to hold the engine while it's being glued on. I get these caps off of Amazon. They're more flat than the rounded type. And that's a close-up of that spacer that's used to hold the corn rod. And make sure that surface is square cut. Otherwise, it'll make the rod be angled, as you can see in a second. Yeah. And normally if you hit that hole in the washer, it's going to be square anyway, or vertical. It'll just be one side. That, if the tube is not cut square and you're in the hole in the washer, then the fixture would just have one side that's got a little gap in it. Those are 3D printed, real easy to make. So now I'm done with it. I'm carrying it over to the gun safe to let it spend the night in the dehumidified fire safe gun safe. And some powder that I use for ejection charges. Also put it in the gun safe if I can find a place it'll fit. Those two ammo boxes is holding ammonia perchlorate engines and sugar engines. All right, we're gonna carry it outside and I'll show you the details of the engine. It was written down. It's got 176 grams of sugar fuel, empty weight, full weight, and it's a 5-inch pipe. So now we're waiting for the engine to light. You'll hear the click when the igniter goes off. There it is. And then comes up to full power. Does a lot of smoking. This is the old potassium nitrate. It's not the new. And I think this came out to be a G24. This is a slow motion version of it. Same engine. All right, thanks for watching.